Folks, hello and welcome to Tavern Chat. Obviously, I am still up in the Poconos, and I'll be going to the local watering hole in a little bit. So I figured I should record this now while I'm not inebriated because I want to cover things properly. I shared, as you can see on the screen here, a post earlier today that Dave Johnson Games is trying to, or were trying to claim that they are the inheritors or the successors to Gygax magazine. And I was asked, what's the history of Gygax magazine? What happened to Gygax magazine? So I'm going to give you the unofficial history to Gygax magazine. All right, real quick. Gygax magazine was formed by a lot of people that you might know. TSR Games, right? The second edition of TSR Games. Okay, the ones that publish Top Secret New World Order. They published Gygax magazine. Gygax magazine had Luke and Ernie Gygax on staff. It had Tim Kask um, as as the editor. R. Scott Taylor, best known for the Folio, was involved. There were a lot of people that were involved. And when you looked at Gygax magazine, it had the look and feel of the old Dragon magazines. The cover, the artwork, the fonts used, the layout. This was um, uh, a love note to the gamers of the 80s, early 90s when Dragon magazine had a certain feel to it. It even had the paper had a similar feel. So, what happened to it? Why did it only last 6 issues? Well, for one thing, Gygax magazine wasn't just old school, it was covering different games from uh, different publishers. So, it was trying to be what I guess the Dragon was before it became a full house Rogan. Fine. I think I had a little trouble finding its grounding by doing so. But the issue became the name Gygax. Gail Gygax asserted that she had the trademark for Gygax. Now, I was under the impression you couldn't actually trademark a proper name. I think Gygax being a last name that isn't just a handful of people would be hard to trademark, but she trademarked it. I had a discussion with her when I refer to it as uh, uh, her suing TSR at the time, and it was not a lawsuit, it was a legal action. Suffice to say, what it came down to, my understanding, I have this from multiple sources, is that six figures were spent on both sides of this legal action, litigating it. And in the end, there was a negotiated settlement. The negotiated settlement wasn't much of a settlement, and it wasn't much of a negotiation. It was, here's the offer, take it or leave it. And the offer was um, they could license the name Gygax from Gale, um, but anybody who agreed to the terms of the licensing and stated TSR. By the way, if you didn't agree, you had to leave TSR, you had to leave the magazine, you couldn't be affiliated with it. You could never say a disparaging remark, negative commentary about Gail in print, in video, in public, basically anywhere. It was probably like one of those sins of thought. You have a bad thought about Gail, technically maybe you were violating it. That might be a bit further than the actual legal documents. But certain people, most certainly Tim Kask and the brothers, Luke and Ernie, uh, refused to sign such an agreement. So they had to leave the magazine. And to have a Gygax magazine without the brothers Gygax does not give you much of a Gygax magazine. So, therefore, the magazine pretty much folded. So, Gail can technically say she did not end Gygax magazine. It wasn't her fault. They could have continued, but the terms pretty much left them in a position where they could not continue. So, why is this important? Gygax magazine was popular. It hit that spot. It hit that um, that sweet spot of Dragon magazine. It really did. It made you feel, in my case, like a teen again. So when somebody, and I'm going to have to go over to I still don't have a dual screen set up here in the Poconos. Um, this issue, that's what you're looking at right now, marks our 12th, and we celebrate outlasting Gygax magazine. They had to stop at issue 5 or 6. We are still going strong. First off, this is lazy ass bullshit. Okay? If you can't figure out the magazine that you are claiming to be the inheritor of, right? Like, because you're going to see in a second, it is see the Gygax magazine logo. It is sad to see a magazine shut down with so much potential too. We have taken the mantle and are moving forward into the future. Alarms and Journeys magazine since 2018. That's what's up on the screen. That is the sales pitch that Dave Johnson was trying to make. And again, a lot of people look at Gygax magazine and said, it should have had a longer lifespan. It would have had a longer lifespan if it wasn't legal action out of existence. So that's the history question I was asked. That kind of is the quick summary, brings you up to speed. So, what's on with this douchebaggery? Well, Dave does this, and like as I said in the blog, I'm happy to correct Dave and tell him it was 6 issues. A Google search could have shown you that, or if you'd actually paid attention and had been a subscriber like I was, you'd know because you had 6 issues. Solarian Games, which was TSR 2, the second iteration of TSR, they, as the publishers of Gygax magazine, we would like to respectfully request that you not imply a relationship between Gygax magazine and Alarms and Journeys, specifically with the use of the logo and the phrase, "We have taken the mantle and are moving forward into the future." For the record, Alarms and Journeys is not associated with Gygax magazine or Solarian Games in any capacity, and we have not designated it as taken the mantle or have any connection to the discontinued magazine. By the way, this was, and I don't believe it was taken down by Solarian Games, but it was taken down out of the Alarms and Journeys group. Why would it be taken down? Because it's obviously negatively impacting, but Dave did make a change. This issue marks our 12th, and we celebrate outlasting other magazines. They had to stop at issue 5 or 6. Again, just fucking look it up. We are still going strong. It is sad to see a magazine shut down, and with so much potential, too. We are moving forward into the future. And as has been pointed out by others, Alarms and Journeys, just by its title, is trying to imply that somehow it is a spiritual successor or maybe even Leagold's Alarms and Excursions. I know people have scratched their head and wondered, is there a similarity? Tim Kask had a quote on Facebook that I had to share. What a douchebag. Now, Luke Gygax also shared something in response to this. The guy that does Alarms and Journeys is a pretty big jerk. He cold messaged me about contributing to it once, and I politely declined at that time due to my busy schedule. He asked again in a couple of weeks, and I declined respectfully. Listen, I've been asked, not often, not somebody at that level, but I've been asked to participate in various projects, and to be honest with you, Either I don't have the time often, or it's just something I'm not interested in participating in. So it's not easy to say no. You don't want to hurt people's feelings. Then again, a couple of weeks after that, I said I'm really busy. So Dave asked Luke 3 times because Dave knows Luke is a get. You get Luke, you get a Gygax. Because I said I'll let you know when I'm available. And he called me something like a conceited jerk and blocked me, as I recall. So this claim of being Gygax magazine doesn't surprise me. He's associated with T3R. That's another way to put out the TSR, the newest version of it, I guess. So, folks, uh, again, I bring this I bring the screenshot. I bring the evidence. I don't make things up, Dave. I know you think that Tenkar's. I erased it from the internet. Tenkar can't bring it up. We're bringing it up. All right. Just for somebody who has military background, you should know that you don't steal somebody else's identity. You don't steal somebody else's history. You don't piggyback on somebody else. Build your own. All right. If you've got quality stuff, if you can do quality work, you should be able to survive on your own reputation. I don't know if you can, but in theory. So, folks, on that note, tomorrow night there's a live stream with myself, Glenn Hallstrom. We may have a special guest. I got to verify that. I'm pretty sure we do, but I shall be back in New York for tomorrow. And I should have proper internet. Woohoo! Look at that. Other than that, we're still in the midst of the world of the pandemic. What does that mean? Use your common sense. All right? I'm not your mother. I'm not your father. I'm not going to tell you got to wash behind your ears and clean your ass. I'm going to tell you, use your common sense. Be safe, be well, God bless, roll those dice, and God willing, back tomorrow.